Hi, I'm CJ, and today CJ does some D&D themed wall art. So this part, we're just going to cut out our template, nice and easy. We have solid lines on all around the edges of what we're cutting out. So just carefully with the hobby knife, cutting along those dark lines, making sure to try and stay as straight as you can. You could use a straight edge while making these cuts. It's not necessary. I mean, I was doing it pretty well, just following along the guidelines with the hobby knife. It's not too difficult, just moving around the edge of the page, slowly cutting and making sure that we get a nice good cut all the way through the paper. It's really important to have a nice sharp knife when you're doing this. And then getting towards the end here, we just make our final couple cuts and we release it from the page. All right, we've got our template nice and cut. So now next is we're just going to do a quick little score along the dotted lines. Now for the score, you just want to touch the page. You're not cutting all the way through. You're just putting like very light, almost no pressure as you run the knife along the dotted lines. Here you'll see as I'm folding it, the folds are nice and sharp and easy to turn. You're not struggling with the paper fighting against you. Right there, the corners are nice and sharp. Going around, making sure that each of the score lines is folded up, and then we can fold it all up and we can see how our D20 is gonna look. Looking really good right there. All right. So next we're just gonna have to glue it all together, flatten it back out, and apply glue to all of the glue tabs. These little tabs right here along the edge are nice and easy. Just add some glue. I'm using Elmer's, school glue, the old style stuff you used to use in school. Really easy. Just pinch it a little bit, hold it for a couple seconds, and it should just hold right there for you. Nothing too difficult here. Just go around, do the little tabs first. And hold them. Give it a couple seconds and then move on to the big ones. The big ones are a little easier. There's a lot more surface area. You want to make sure you get good glue coverage when you're doing this too. So I'm just using the bottle there. You can see as I spread the glue out, it's just put a little bead of glue, spread it along with the edge of the bottle, and then pinch and hold while the glue dries up a little bit, just enough so that it's tacky and it'll hold its shape. And we're doing the final tab right here. Fold it up, hold it, pinch it, let it set a little bit, and we should be good. Go around just making sure that everything is nice and aligned, and we're ready. Okay, so it's time to add some color. So this one, I started with these paint markers, cheap, easy, simple, Craft Smart, probably from the hobby store, the craft store. Nothing too complicated, nothing too expensive. This is an easy, simple, inexpensive project. So just going around with the black here, filling in the colors. Now I just chose to do black and red for my die, my D20. You could choose to do any colors you want, blue and yellow, green and silver if you have the right markers. So just going around, I'm filling in all of the numbers on the D20 with this black going in. Real easy with the template, nice and everything's nice and filled out for you. Just going around, coloring in the 12. This is a really simple project, and it's a great one to start if you're just getting into making. And this is one that I really wanted to get done for D&D because I'm a big fan of D&D. If you guys aren't aware, I'm over on a channel called Tabletop Bob where I do D&D live streams with my friend Bob, who is the DM. And this is a great little thing. I'm gonna probably put it up as a background during our streaming so that people can see it, and and you can show it off that way. Now next, I use this red paint marker, and I started trying to do this and it just took forever. I just skipped over that. So we had to kind of move over to a different technique. So I just grabbed some cheap red craft paint here from the craft aisle and put a little red in there, stayed with the solid red, cup of water, and we just started painting. And this was way easier than trying to do it with the paint markers, you know, just filling in all of the blank space, the brush, using a fairly wide brush, getting a lot of coverage around all of the numbers, making sure I got everything covered pretty well. Was able to move a lot quicker than with the paint pen. I suggest definitely getting some paint if you're going to be doing this. The paint pen it'd work, but it would have just taken way too long. Not that I didn't have the time, but it would have been a lot more work to try and fill in all of that space with the paint pen. So just going around here with the big brush, filling in all of the blank areas with the paint, getting as close as I could without going over. Now this, I actually could have, you'll see a little bit later, because this red paint is actually a little translucent and the black is so dark, you can actually just go right over the black with what I had. So I was just being very careful here. I didn't really know what I was getting into with how the colors would mix or how they would cover each other. So I just tried to avoid covering up the black with any of the red. So just going around, getting any little splotchy areas, any areas like that. Then switching over here, I grabbed a finer point brush, one that I could get a little bit higher detail, get in there, really get around all of the numbers and fill in all of the little holes and the negative space within the numbers. So this was a really nice, small, fine-tipped brush that I was able to get in with all the areas. Get the center of those 8s, get around this 2, the curves, follow the curves of the 2, nice and easily. Get to the 12. You know, filling in this area, this was a nice relaxing time also. Doing, you know, these kind of crafts, when you get to these parts where you're doing the coloring or the painting, it's a nice little zen moment where you're just kind of relaxing and just painting along like your adult coloring books, you know, so we can just kind of relax. And here's where I realized, oh, I could actually go over the black with the red. I was doing it on the edges where it wasn't going to be as visible, but now I realized that I could. So filling in the 8, going over the 20, that section where I had previously done with the paint marker, just trying to even out the color here. Just one more coat of paint. I just go over everything. Again, because it was translucent, I was able to just go over everything with the wide brush, covering, trying to clean up the splotchy colors and even out the coat of paint here. Just moving through. This is very quick. I sped this up a lot. It took some time, but you know, it was a nice relaxing moment where I could sit and be with my thoughts and think about what my character might be doing next as our campaign continues in our home game, Rhyme with the Frost Maiden, over on Tabletop Bob. So here we are, just finishing it up, getting the 20 all done, and now let's roll. So I'm going to apply the D20 to this little sheet of paper. We're going to just put a small bead of glue around the edge of the entire perimeter of the D20 we painted up. So we're just going along, again, just simple Elmer's school glue, real easy, real simple to find, just going along the edge. You want to make sure you get a nice thin bead of glue, and it's along the edge, and it's not too difficult. You know, we're doing this with some cardstock paper, so you have a little bit of thickness there, so you can definitely get the glue on the edge. And it's something that the glue can get some purchase on, and where you can get a good amount of coverage and adhesion. So we get the D20, we get that nice and glued up, glue around the edge. And then we're just going to place it down, kind of even up everything, make sure that everything's kind of flat and touching. Give it a little bit of pressure, hold it down in place, and there we go. Now we just go in here, finally, just with the 20, color in a little bit darker. The red kind of did cover it a little bit. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a highlight, make sure it's nice and dark and filled in. So, I mean, I could have done this again with the paint pen, but we just go around with the 20, fill it in, and we should be done. Coming up on finishing this project up. All right, looking good. All right, see you in the after. So that's how to make this D20 wall art. I'll leave links to files in the description so you can make your own at home, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. There's a lot of ways to do something, but this is how CJ does it.